What's up, guys, and welcome to my tier list of the NFL teams going into the 2022-23 NFL season. So I got 5 tiers. I got top 5, the teams I think are absolutely the best, elite, Super Bowl contenders. I have the playoff contenders, you know, maybe have a deep playoff run. I have middle of the pack, probably not going to make the playoffs, but might slip in, especially in a conference like the NFC with how weak the NFC is right now compared to the AFC. With subpar teams that getting better maybe should blow it up. You never know. And then we just have teams that are trash, that are rebuilding. Trash or rebuilding. So I don't like starting off with the Cardinals because I feel like they are. I think they are playoff contenders. But with D Hop missing 6 weeks out of the season and Cliff Kingsbury kind of has this thing for shutting down at the end of the season. Now, if you asked me this question like week 6 of last season, then top 5. But I'm gonna just put them in playoff contenders. The Falcons. Yeah, no. The Falcons, they trade away Julio. They just trade away Matt Ryan. They're kind of blowing it up, bringing in Ritter, see what he can do. Probably going to sit behind Mariota for the first couple of weeks, though. Baltimore, definitely playoff contenders. 100% playoff contenders. If their whole team didn't get hurt last season, they probably would have won the division. I think they're going to win the division this year. So, definitely playoff contenders. Bills are top 5. Easily, 100%. They have, I think, the second best quarterback in the NFL right now, behind Aaron Rodgers. Josh Allen is just that man. I think he's probably going to take the throne for the best quarterback this season. Panthers, if McCaffrey could stay healthy, I think they're middle of the pack. But they are kind of, I don't know. The trade for Baker kind of puts them subpar. I think the Panthers could do something if McCaffrey could stay healthy, but that's never happening. The Bears, trash. They are awful. The Bears, I think they're going to be the worst team in the NFC North this season. Justin Fields looked awful last season, but I mean he was thrown in a Matt Nagy offense, so that's not really 100% his fault. But the Bears definitely rebuilding. Bengals, playoff contenders. I feel like people should think the Bengals should be top 5, but I honestly feel like their run was a little fluky last season. Now this take is gonna get some hate, but the Browns, if Deshaun Watson plays, that's what we're assuming. If Deshaun Watson plays, they're top 5. I just said the Baltimore Ravens were gonna win their division. Oh man. No, if Deshaun plays, I think the Browns are going to win the division. If he doesn't play, Ravens. But the Browns just have such an amazing team. They have a top 3 running back and then Kareem Hunt right behind him, who could easily start somewhere else. They have one of the best lines. They just picked up Amari Cooper. They have a solid defense. They have Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward. Stefanski, I like what he's doing there. So I think Browns are top 5. Them boys. Cowgirls, playoff contenders. Uh, I think we should just get this out the way. I think the Eagles have a very good shot of winning that division. I think with if Jalen Hurts makes some improvements, like just more accurate and like turning over the ball a little bit less, I think they could be really good. The Broncos, playoff contenders. I know some people think they're top 5, but we haven't seen what the Broncos can do with the quarterback yet. So people like Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton probably going to have incredible years with Russell Wilson at quarterback now, and they already have a stellar defense. Like their defense is insane. Lions. This is kind of wild, but I think they're middle of the pack. Ooh. I said this tier could sneak it into the playoffs. I don't think the Lions can. I'm gonna put them subpar, but I think they will be better than the Panthers. I think the Lions they have young talent. You know, even Goff. Goff could be great. I mean, last season he wasn't as great, but we've seen what Goff can do. Now I don't think he can be that player that he was with the Rams, but he is definitely talented. I think he's overhated. With D Swift and Jameson Williams, I think the Lions will be fine. And Dan Campbell, I think he brings great energy to the team. Green Bay, they're playoff contenders. Last season, easily top 5 team in the NFL, but without Devontae Adams, no MVS, who is Rodgers going to throw to? They're going to make the playoffs because they have Aaron Rodgers. As long as they have Rodgers, they will be fine. But they just don't have enough pieces on the offense to put them top 5 or even really a Super Bowl contender. They even lost Zadarius Smith on the defense. The Texans, rebuilding. I don't think they're trash. I think Davis Mills could be a very serviceable starter. He was actually pretty good last season. People didn't really look at that, but Davis Mills actually was not as bad as people expected him to be, and kind of made a decent season out of nothing. I mean, yes, he did have Brandon Cooks, and Brandon Cooks makes every quarterback look good. But I don't really see why they fired David Culley, because he scraped some wins out of the bottom of that barrel, just out of nowhere. He really squeezed that team for a couple of wins. So I don't really understand why they got rid of David Culley. The Colts, middle of the pack. They should have made the playoffs last year. If they just would have beaten Jacksonville, the Steelers wouldn't have been in and gotten slapped by the Chiefs like they did. They have a top 2 running back, only behind Derrick Henry. And they should have been in. I know Carson Wentz had some bad games. I don't think he had as bad of a season as people say he did, though. But he definitely made some really, really bad plays. And he did no justice in that Jacksonville game. And now they have Matt Ryan, another transitional quarterback. I don't know when they're going to find their guy, but until they do, I think they're just middle of the pack. Jacksonville, the team that kept them out the playoffs, they're still rebuilding. Now they have Trayvon Walker now. They got Trevor Lawrence, who will have a better season because they don't have man, I don't even remember his name now. He was so bad. I sound like a casual right now, but I can't remember what his name was. I know he coached Ohio State. He's a legendary college coach, but I just can't. It's not coming to me right now. But now they do have Doug Peterson, who kind of made Carson Wentz as that Super Bowl contender, the Eagles team, the MVP candidate. So maybe he can do some things with Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence and have them, or Trevor Lawrence in the position that he had Carson Wentz. They have James Robinson. They have Dan Arnold. They have Josh Allen. They better not let go of Josh Allen. I know they spent way too much money on their wide receiver corps, which is not even that good. Maybe Christian Kirk has a breakout season, but I doubt it. They had to let go of Myles Garrett Myles Jack because of it. And it's just rough in Jacksonville. Kansas City, they're still top 5. I think they're still top 5 because they have Mahomes. They have Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Travis Kelce. As long as they have those 3 guys, they're going to be incredible. Now they still have Chris Jones on the defense. They still have, well, they lost the Honey Badger and they lost Charvarius Ward, but I think the Chiefs, they've been there before. They know what it's like. I think they're gonna continue to reign over the AFC West. Chargers, playoff contenders. I think the Chargers, they're going to finish 3rd in the division, so they might slip in, do what the NFC West did last year. They had 3 teams in the playoffs, so maybe the Chargers slip in, but the Chargers have kind of been known recently for choking. So they have so much talent, and they have Brandon Staley. He's a good coach. He's a good young coach. He kind of lost them the game against the Raiders. They were just gonna kneel it out. And yeah, the Rams, top 5. They won the Super Bowl. They got better. There's not really much you can say about them. Las Vegas. Now, I almost want to put them in middle of the pack because I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to get screwed out because their division is just that good. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, so I'm going to put them in middle of the pack. Dolphins, kind of the same thing. I don't think that they could. I don't know. The AFC is rough. You have these 3 teams up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even the Colts. And then we don't like the Titans. Like the AFC is just rough. So I think they're going to be the middle of the pack. Minnesota. I think they're playoff contenders. The NFC is not that insane anymore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those teams. Oh, and you have the Bucks. So I don't. The real question is, do I think they're better than these 4 teams? I don't think they're better than Green Bay. I don't think they're better than Dallas. I don't know. I'm thinking about pulling Arizona down and putting the Vikings up there. Or even Philly. Because, no, we're going to keep the Vikings here. They have a new head coach. It's good. Zimmer was not the best. They picked up Zadarius Smith. They just their offense is just stacked. They have Jay Jettis, they have Adam Thielen, they have Dalvin Cook. Even Madison behind him can get the job done. And Kirk, I think Kirk is overhated. I think Kirk really can get the job done. But the coaching hasn't been the best there. The defense hasn't been the best there. So I think Minnesota's middle of the pack. I think they could sneak into the playoffs 100%. But right now, New England. I think they're subpar. I really do. They have Mac Jones. He's a great rookie quarterback. Or he's not a rookie anymore, but he had a great rookie season. You still have Bill. But they've just lost so many pieces that I don't think they're going to be able to compete with these other teams. New Orleans, middle of the pack. Now, if Michael Thomas plays this season, they have an incredible wide receiving room. They'll have Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry. They still have Alvin Kamara, who's basically a wide receiver. Jameis Winston can throw. Like, he was having a great comeback season until he got hurt. Now, the change in coaching, definitely going to have a big impact. But that defense is still full of studs. So, I think that's another team that could sneak in. New York, rebuilding. Now, they just hired the Bills, I think it was their offensive coordinator, to be their head coach. And he was great for Josh Allen. So if he can really improve Daniel Jones, I could almost say they're middle of the pack. But with their shaky line, I mean, Andrew Thomas is great at left tackle, but they're shaky at the line. They're shaky at quarterback. They're shaky at running back because Saquon is just not the man anymore. I hope he can have a bounce back season, but I just don't see it happening. So they let go of Bradbury, I'm pretty sure, and it's just not good in New York. But they had a good draft, so I don't think I'd put them in subpar. I think I just put them in rebuilding. New York, they are rebuilding. I feel like I should change these. I feel like I should change these tiers. Ah, man. I think New York is subpar. They are rebuilding, but I think they're better than all these teams down here. I think New York, they addressed the wide receiver position with Wilson. They have Corey Davis still. I don't really know how great their line is. I'm pretty sure they have Becton. He's pretty good. They really just need Zach Wilson. Like, they addressed wide receiver. They have Michael Carter at running back. He can do it. They just picked up Sauce Gardner. They have some talent on the defense. They have Quinnen Williams. They still got old man C.J. Mosley. So they have some spots that are really good on the defense, and they have an improving wide receiving room. They have an okay running back, and they have probably a little like under subpar offensive line. I like their coaching staff. I like Saleh. I just think they need Zach Wilson to perform. Pittsburgh, middle of the pack. They've just picked up Kenny Pickett. They got Deontay Johnson. They got Chase Claypool. Man, I don't know their their tight end's name, but he was a rookie last year. I don't know how to say it, but he was pretty good actually. So depending on Kenny Pickett, maybe they could even be playoff contenders because they have an insane defense. Like their defense carried them to the playoffs. Their defense scored a touchdown in the wild card game. So right now, middle of the pack. Depending on Kenny Pickett, could be playoff contenders. Seattle, trash. Seattle is awful. They blew it up. They traded Russell Wilson. That's really their sign that they are rebuilding. They don't have the best offensive line. They have a trash quarterback. They are looking at trying to sign or trade for Jimmy G from the Niners, which maybe that could bring them up to subpar because they do have great receivers. They have Tyler Lockett. They have DK Metcalf. They have some spots on the defense, like their secondary is pretty good. They have Quandre Diggs. They have Jamal Adams. So yeah, their defense, have some spots. Their offense, though, just we don't know if Chris Carson will play again. So you have to rely on Rashad Penny, who hasn't been reliable. So Drew Lock, trash. Jimmy G, subpar. San Fran, playoff contenders. San Francisco is playoff contenders. They made improvements. They made big improvements in the secondary. They lost a few guys on the defensive line. They lost some guys on the offensive line as well. They lost guys on both lines. But with a mobile quarterback like Trey Lance coming in, depending on what Shanahan decides to do with him, unless they go out with Jimmy, which I don't think they will. I think it's been confirmed that Trey Lance will be the starter, and it's expected that Jimmy is traded by the end of this month, actually. So, depending on what Trey Lance can come out and do, if he can take this team back to the Super Bowl, which they can definitely be top 5 if Trey Lance really shows out. But they have great receivers. They got Debo, assuming Debo's going to play. They have Ayuk. They have Jawan Jennings, who's really good. They have George Kittle. They have the best offensive lineman in football. They have one of the best edge rushers. So I think they're playoff contenders. I think they're going to be second in the NFC West this year. Tampa Bay, they're top 5. They got the GOAT. There's really not much to say about them. They have the GOAT, great receiving core, great defense. We'll see what Todd Bowles can do, but really it doesn't matter if you have Brady. So, Tennessee, playoff contenders. They have the King. I think they're looking at Tannehill's replacement. They're trying to replace him. They have a very solid line. They have a pretty solid defense as well. If Derrick Henry can stay healthy, I think they're playoff contenders. They have a great coach in Mike Vrabel as well. Commanders. I think they're subpar. Now they have great running back in Antonio Gibson. They have a great receiver in Terry McLaurin. They have lots and lots of talent on the defense. The defense could be amazing. They need Chase Young to stay healthy, though. They have Ron Rivera, who's always been a decent head coach. For the most of his career, he's been pretty solid. But they just picked up Carson Wentz. Now, if Wentz can go back to that MVP candidate, I could go ahead and say that they're even playoff contenders. But, you know, I'll say they're middle of the pack because they can sneak in. If Wentz is great, they have pieces on the offense. They have pieces on the defense. They just really need to find a way to pull it all together. They also need a new owner. They need Dan Snyder to sell that team. So yeah, this is my tier list. Let me know if you guys agree with it, and I'll see you all next time.